Hi everyone, it's Tasleem here, and today's video is called How Dance Keeps Us Young. So, for the sake of this video, and I'm hoping after the video as well, but I'm going to propose that we think of young as in not necessarily an age, not a number, but certain qualities that we normally associate with being young, with being youthful. And in this video, I would like to go over some of those qualities that I think are really prevalent in our culture, in our in our stereotyping of what youth and young means. And I'm going to show, or hopefully show, how I think that dance really can cultivate those qualities in us. And so, because like I can say, dance keeps us young, and we can connect that to a number, but inevitably we are all growing older in terms of a number, in terms of age, in terms of the time that we are here on this earth. But how we take that time, how we use that time, how we show up in our lives year after year, I think can really be very greatly shaped in a wonderful way with something like a passion like dance. And it can help us show up with the qualities that we normally associate with being youthful or with being young. So, the first quality that I wanted to bring up is being quick on your feet. So, you can all imagine, especially if you are a dancer, that when we're dancing, we need to be quick on our feet. We need to be agile. We need to be able to respond really quickly and change direction and pivot and also, take our partner's initiation or response and run with that. And that takes a lot of great reflexes and a lot of we associate that with being quick and being really light on our feet and being able to move on the spur of the moment, being really able to react very, not just spontaneously, but also to have our reaction not be delayed, just like the way that I was talking right now. Anyway, no, but I think that dance definitely does that for a physical body. We train doing that. We train it in our muscle memory. We start, we might even start fumbling when we're taking dance classes, but then eventually, like, we're practicing this over and over again enough that it just becomes just automatic, that we know how to change direction quickly, or we know how to respond. And I feel like this gets translated into life as well. When we practice that in dance, on a dance floor, in a class, I believe that that actually can go into our out of dance world. It ends up, I am a testament to that. I feel so amazed at how lately especially in the past few months, I've been feeling like I've been put in places where I felt so stuck, and I felt like I made a mistake, and how did I get myself in this? And I didn't know how to get out. But then I was kind of like impressed with myself, that how did I just suddenly pivot and change that direction really quickly? Or how did I respond and react in a way that I might not have otherwise? And it led me to a better place than I could have even expected. And I know that a lot of that comes from training our minds and our bodies, and all of that is connected to have that agility, to have that quick footedness, to be able to be quick on our feet. And it doesn't necessarily only mean literally in our feet. It means in our lives, in the way that we respond to what life throws at us. And I definitely attest, dance in helping me get through this these times. I couldn't have done it myself, and I know that it's because I trained some of this into my body. And in the past, when I hadn't had dance training or dance experience, I was a lot slower with those things. So dance, it sticks with you, these lessons, these things that get ingrained in our bodies, and the way that we show up on the dance floor can also be very similar to how we show up in our lives. And I think it's really important for us to notice that and use it to our advantage. The second quality is that we often associate youth with being like curious and adventurous and playful and not really caring what other people think. They just, like, when you think of kids, if they're angry about something, they scream. If they're excited about something, they jump up and down. If they're really like scared of something, like they will run to safety. And we as adults try to hide that, and we try to hide what we're really feeling, and we care so much about what other people think, and we end up actually squashing our uniqueness, our initial responses. We end up, even the idea of dancing as an adult becomes something that, oh, but that's what you do when you're a kid. Now we need to adult in our lives and we need to do more responsible things. But I think that we oftentimes in our culture, we don't realize, or unfortunately our culture doesn't always recognize how important play and adventure and curiosity and exploration is, not just for kids but for adults. And it's really important for other kids to see that adults do that. Then they can look forward to adulthood, and they would never be saying, oh, when I get older it's going to be really tough, because they will witness people that are adults that are older than them, and they are actually playing and having fun. And I remember when I was teaching, I joked and was teasing my students, saying like, oh, you guys go out for recess and lunch and go out on a playground and stuff. What do you think about like us building a playground for the teachers? And they were all looking at me like funny and kind of like I'm crazy. I said, yeah, like what if we had like a water slide, and we had our own special swings and we had our own playtime and stuff. And they were like, but you can't do that. And I was like, why? And they said, because adults don't do that. Adults don't have playtime and stuff. And it made me feel really sad, because I'm hoping that people, kids and adults will show kids that actually play is part of our whole lives, not just as kids, but ongoingly. And I feel like in dance gives us an excuse to be playful, to explore, to try new moves, to try new possibilities, to make mistakes and fumble and fall and laugh over it, and still get up and try something different. And it's acting, it's playing, it's using that curiosity mindset that we all have as human beings, and actually making use of it, not just shoving it down and saying, oh no, that's too scary, or that's unsafe. I was in a restaurant yesterday, and this father was with his son, and the son was walking a bit towards the front door of the restaurant, and the father kind of grabbed him and said, no, remember what I told you. You can't go out there. There are strangers out there. Remember what we saw on the TV, that police can get you and people will kidnap you, and you have to stay with me. You have to stay home. And I just felt like was in tears. I was like, oh my God, this kid was probably maybe 6, and I felt like this father was ingraining in him already that even as a kid, you cannot play, you cannot explore, everything's unsafe. Let's get back in. Don't go out there. Don't speak to people. Don't. And it was like way too much. Like, I'm all about safety, but this was really making me feel sad for this kid, because as a kid, he was being told not to explore and not to play. By the time he is an adult, like, if the culture is already not being very, um, supportive of adults playing, and his father is treating him like this already, I was like, what is going to happen to this kid? Hopefully he's smart enough to like be like, oh, I don't know, my dad's a little old school, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But it just made me really appreciative of having dance as an adult, because dance gives us a space to play, to perform, to laugh, to joke, to actually use that sense of curiosity and exploration, and not apologize for it. It gives us an excuse to do it. And I feel like we shouldn't have an excuse. We should already be able to do it. And so when I go out in my everyday life, I feel like I use that when I interact with people. I feel more playful because of dance. I, even in terms of like interacting physically with people, like, I might be a little bit more comfortable with, like, putting a hand on the shoulder, or um, joking, and like not being scared to be to touch and to be in each other's physical space in a respectful way, but also like to um, invite the other person to be playful and to explore as well. And that definitely comes from dance for me. Another quality that I think dance really brings us is this feeling of like being able to have our own style, to be our own selves. Like, oftentimes we hear other people tell us how we should live our lives, and we kind of get squashed down. And but with youth, like, we usually associate youth with like, they're so they have so much energy, and they're so much vitality, and they're kind of can be defiant, like, and they sort of can say like, no, I want to do it this way, or no, I want that toy, or no, I want to do this. And oftentimes, like, young people, they kind of know what they want, and they don't feel like something can hold them back. Like, they're not, trained to think, okay, well, let's be scared of this, or let's not do this, or let's worry about what this person thinks. And there's so much energy in that. And we think of, young people as being able to be out later, or go out and be more physically active and have less sleep and stuff like that. But actually, when I was dancing, when I go out dancing, like, I lose track of time. And I can't believe sometimes how long, I remember like being out sometimes really late into the night, and I was not tired afterwards. Well, first of all, during the night, I had so much energy because it was something exciting and fun for me to do. But then I was also not tired afterwards. I was so energized from it. And the next morning, I wasn't drained from it. I actually felt so inspired from it. And we usually associate that with being young. Like, oh, people say, like, oh, I can't stay out late anymore, or I can't, my body doesn't work that way. It won't, like, because I'm getting older. And we kind of make up these excuses because we've heard them from other people that, oh, I'm too old for that. Or even in relationships, like, oh, I don't have the energy to be with that kind of person, or I can't be with someone younger than me. But I have friends around me that completely defy that. And most often, they are dancers or they have a dance background, because dance has taught them and taught me that actually being young is a state of mind. Like that energy, that being able to just know what you want and go after it, and not listening to the people that say that you can't because you're too old or because that's too scary or whatever. Like, I have friends, who are older and they completely live their lives in that state of mind that dance has taught them, which is like, we can we can surpass that. Like, those stereotypes of getting older are not actually true. And the more that we see the people that are defying those stereotypes, the more we can realize that it's just a mindset. There are people out there who are in their 50s, 60s. I know breakdancers who are in their 50s who are still flying over people in their routines, and nobody would even know how old they were because they don't listen to that mindset. And they have trained in dance so much that their body is not telling them now, oh, you can't do it. It's like, we've done it and we're going to keep doing it. And so I just think, the more that we show up as examples of people who age in number but still carry those youthful qualities, the more other people can see that actually aging doesn't mean that you lose your energy, that you lose your vitality, that you lose your being quick on your feet and being agile, and your enthusiasm for life. It actually is a mindset. And if you ever start falling into the trap of listening to what other people are saying, I advise you to go dancing, because dancing will remind you that actually you can reinvigorate those qualities back in you. And going out dancing is one of the best ways to keep you young, keep those young qualities in your body, mind, and the way that you show up in life. Thank you so much for listening.